recall that we had speakers, and we have touched upon so many things that you can keep in mind for the policies of the circular economy for sustainable infrastructure. So we did that, and we already came up with your inputs. So yesterday was not just the speaker inputs, but participants has given a lot of inputs to their presentation. So I will show that later, what the valuable outputs that we got. What will happen today will be very interesting. That we will touch upon two things. The first, we will touch upon the areas that we call the capacity of the organizations. So what do we do for the capacity building in terms of the circular economy? Since this CE is the new areas, so I think it's not too late to start thinking about how we are going to build capacities of the organizations to prepare so that the organization are ready to implement or materialize, to make it happen. And that is the first part. And the second part, as you see on the screen, it is session 5, that we will show you a lot of example of the infrastructure related items related to how AIT is trying the best to put together of different initiatives to address circular economy in different ways, especially on the infrastructure related topics. So we have a lot of information for you there on the second part. And again, we will have also the group discussions. So we are monitoring the group participation, and we are trying to also grouping you based on the groups that we are having today. So you might be in the different groups today. Doesn't matter, because you are active, and we like it a lot, and we don't mind that you mix the groups, and that will be working very well for the program. So this is today, okay? Tomorrow is a big day, especially the big day in AIT, that we are going to have the in-class session. We don't know how many can make it to come to AIT. Some of you already be in AIT, some of them also outside AIT. So they will come to Pathum Thani AIT campus. They might be coming from Bangkok. They may be coming from other places, but let's see how many there. But we still open the Zoom facilities so that our colleague from overseas can also join. So tomorrow we do a hybrid of both face-to-face and also the flavor will be the same. Even the flavor will be no more delicious tomorrow, but we a bit of adjusting the floor that we can also have an in-person as well. As tomorrow program, we have a bit of opening because we see this as an in-house program at AIT as well. So we have Chris and we have Cheng Chen to come and speak again on behalf of AIT to welcome the face-to-face participants. We will also have the topics about the life cycle thinking concept in relation to the circular economy. So we have Professor Shabir Givala coming to talk to you in person, and we assume on this concept. So we see how we are going to explore of the life cycle concept with the circular economy and how that fit into the settings that would help the circular economy is really rolling there. Then we also have a panel discussion by the invitees from Thai government organizations. So the session 7, you can see we have two topics. One is the policy in relation to the innovations from the perspective of Thailand. Okay, so Dr. Chiti, he is coming from the NASDA, which is NSTDA, National Scientific Development Agency. He will speak about how Thailand is moving forward to the circular economy. As for your information, for those you may not familiar with Thailand, we are moving to the sphere of bioeconomy, circular economy, and green economy. We call BCG. And BCG is nothing else. BCG is a subset of the circular economy. That's it. So see how Thailand is moving forward. Some country may be moving faster, some country may be moving slower, but that doesn't matter. We see how a good example can be shown there. And the second person is Dr. Patima. She is coming from the Planning Commission in Thailand. We call NESDC, the National Economic and Social Development Board's office, which is, these people, they are submitting the plan to the Prime Minister of Thailand, so that the Prime Minister can make an order that, okay, Lai agency, move forward with the BCG circular economy based on your Lai agency implementation. So we see how Thailand is now looking at the big pictures and also long range, development plan, and how this fit into the Thailand National Development Agenda, which is the 5 years plan, 20 years plan, and also BCG plan, and so on and so forth. So in Thailand, we have so many plans. It's good. It's good. And then after we have lunch, and we have a real lunch, and after we have a virtual lunch, and after we have a good rest, then afternoon we also have a group discussion, and we will also have a group discussion there. And we also have another invitees who are coming straight from India, okay? But she is not flying to Thailand, but she is, coming by Zoom facilities to talk to us on the sustainable financing. All right. So tomorrow we also have the speaker from Terry School of Advanced Study in India, in Delhi, India, to speak about the how this sustainable financing is going to make a lot of sense to incentivizations, as we discussed yesterday, and also into the public-private partnerships and engagement, so on and so forth there. So we can see what are the entry points from the perspective of financier that they can see there, especially green finance and carbon finance. That another topics that we are looking forward for you to grab a lot of ideas. And we also have the industry people coming. You see, we also have people coming from TISTR, T-I-S-T-R. Dr. Panida is coming from Zoom, coming to meet to you, and she will share practice of waste to energy. The real things is happening, and Dr. Panida is really doing these works with one of our partner, TISTR, Thailand Scientific and Technological Research Institute. Here in Bangkok, they have doing a lot of waste to energy, a lot of programs and initiatives there. Dr. Panida will be coming to meet you there. And we also have the best practice from PTT, Petroleum Authority of Thailand, Petroleum Company of Thailand, on the global chemical to showcase the sustainable circular economy for sustainability. Okay, so this is showcase of the oil and gas sector. We have not Dr. Patharapon, but her colleagues, Dr. Pacharanin will come to meet you in AIT and also meet you via Zoom, and then we have a good discussion. All right. On the last day of Friday, I'm sure this would be after Juma prayer. For those who are having Juma prayer, you can do these religious activities, and you can come and join our sessions in the Zoom at 2 p.m. or maybe your time maybe. Yes, so we have two speakers, which is very important. The first subject is building constructions. All right, so we have a case study of building constructions, the sustainabilities, CE on sustainabilities, and also the smart livable city there. So that all said, it is very useful subjects that we would like everybody of you to take away. And believe it or not, the subject matters that we are providing, you will be the witness of, number one, you will get a lot of substance where you can create your research. Number one, what are the area? Number two, if you are working in the agency and organization, you are going to get things that is making more sense in terms of the integrations of the things that is ongoing in your organizations, and you would like to redesign it into the circular economy fashion. That also can be done because now have more jigsaws to connect into the big pictures. Number two. Number 3, you will for sure knows about what are the things that you need to know in order to start conceptualize about the circular economy project, because you will have a big pictures, you have a small jigsaws, you already idea from the best practice and also the lesson that they learn. So you already piece of information that help you to be able to connect there. If you are a researcher, if you are the students, if you are policymakers, if you are the doers that working on this already, so you get more information to connect the jigsaws. And last but not the least, you are going to get key measures, criteria, indicators for, number 1, to create the tools to evaluate your program. Number 2, to monitor, to check the achievement of your activities in relation to the green economy, circular economy, and also even the clean technologies in there. All right. So piece of this information is not only from the speaker's point of view, but also from your side that you are sharing, and we are packaging that for you. So don't miss. Stay tuned. Okay. So I will now drop my slides for 15 seconds. Yes. Now I will show quick one, the things that we are sharing yesterday. All right. So I will not spend a very long time on this one. The first thing that we discussed yesterday a lot in the speakers sessions and also in the your inputs, we seem to have the concerns about the regulatory perspectives and the policy perspective, and especially challenges. All right, I will give this information away to you. This will be very useful for you. All right, safe example, the tick mark number 1. Provisions in regulations are broad and they need additional elaboration, you see. So when we are talking about can the circular economy should be fitting into the policies of the Department of Industry, or the policy of the Department of Environment, or the policies of the Department of Technologies. So what should it fit in? So it has to have more elaboration so that the actors and policymakers can see how it is being crafted in a way that it can be done. All right. So we talk a lot of the unclear or maybe the not mature regulations over there. All right. So that is the first thing. The second thing is the organizational arrangement, which is in our countries is getting mess, you know, because it is working on a silo basis, is working on different things. But you know what Cheng Cheng has mentioned, it has to be multi-sector, it has to be integration. So how we are going to address these, you know, issues when we are going to implement that, you see, because it's involved research, it's involved innovation, it's involved industry, it's environment, industry, so on and so forth. So how we are going to, you know, overcome the problem of non-multi-sector organization that we have in our country. So that is another issue. The next issue is about the capacity challenge we are talking today, and you will hear that from myself and also Professor Vishu, that he is now having the video on that, and I will show it to you. That is a challenge. We have budget challenge, we have human resource challenges, so it's a lot of challenge that we have. So we are now elaborate more on that one. We also have the compliance things. Some of you already mentioned, I mentioned yesterday, is one of the good points that we discussed, that, you know, when we are coming to the circular economy, how to do it, who will do it, and who will make sure it's happen. And it's happened in a way that everybody accept it. So it's very important that we have to look in terms of the guidelines and also certifications of compliance system. So that is something that we also took notes, and you can imagine that how benefit it is for your ideas in order to break down into different things. See, and the administrative structure. If you remember Dr. Uma, has mentioned that, the industry is ready, but when an industry would like to, exchange the resources from the recycle, they have to pass through a lot of regulation and checking and auditing from the government organization. So how can it happen that the industry would like to do that, because it's wasting their time? So how we're going to, facilitate the process of, lessen the administrative procedure so that the industry will be very happy to participate, to get engaged, so that they are also comfortably action on, the circularity concept, so on and so forth. Remember, we have the inside the industry, they do innovation. There is industry to industry there, and also there is industry to customer there. So that is a lot of transaction. There's a lot of transboundary action that is going to happen. So that is the thing that we were talking about. I know that this is important, and we would like to give this away to you in the sessions, this document. Okay, any other points that you'd like to add? If I miss anything, maybe anybody would like to say a few words before I move forward? Is Dorothy here today? Okay, if not, we will go to a little bit of exercise of polling. So what do? We are going to do some polling here. All right, so please give your answer. What is the most important stakeholders that we would start enhancing? What is the most important stakeholder we would start enhancing? What is the most important stakeholder we would start enhancing practical knowledge on circular economy? So from your view, what is the most important stakeholders that we should enhancing their knowledge? So can you give the answers in the poll, in the Mentimeter? So we are sending the link to you. So now you can see the link on your right hand side, and you click that link, and then you can answer, please. It is very interesting to note, you see, that, when we are going to check the capacities, needs of the organization, we are going to have different dimensions. And also we are going to have a lot of, opinions that, people normally they see that their organization and their working environment is the most important things. So they may have a different view. So when we are going to address the capacities of the organization, the capacity of the team, and also the capacity of the system over there, we also have to consider actually who are the people that we are going to assess that capacity. Because the people that we are making the survey, they can view their, their importance in the system of the CE, very, very clearly, so that when we would like to ask them, we would like to check with them, so they would be able to give a very interesting feedback, opinions, and the response. For instance, community people now, majorities of our colleagues here feeling that the customers, the recipients, and the beneficiaries, or the communities are very important. There is a reason for that, we know. And also there is the green one, which is people also may look at, from the perspective that the government is very important, because the government have to support in many ways. The government may have to give budgets, the government may have to give so on and so forth. So that's why doing this identification of the stakeholders is very important. Now the second question, please. What is a critical organization to start working on the circularity practice, in your view? Yeah, interesting, right? So how we react to the system. And as Junet mentioned, circular economy is not the process, but it's a product of something, which is we want to have the infrastructure is more sustainable. So if that is the aim, so what would be our role and how we start it? All right. So people might say that now we are waiting for the regulators, we are waiting for the policymakers to be clear of how to go about, or we are waiting for the senior management of the company so that we can have a clear directions to move forward, or maybe our own team lead who can also guide us to move forward. So these also the organizations that we also have a level of organization that we have to get concerned so that we would be able to address the concerns in terms of the capacity that we would like to address in terms of the abilities and what do you call that willingness to move forward on the circular economy. I will have a detailed forms example that can show you at the end of the day that how we are going to assess that. Now, last questions. Next, please. Trick question number 3. What are the most important of you among the 7S? Please select 2 items. Okay, so if we are going to implement something in your organization, what are the things that you think it is very important for you? We have strategies, we have shared values, we have structure, we have system, we have style, organization cultures, and we have staff. It should be 7S, now 6S, never mind. There should be some skills missing. So if you're familiar with 7S, actually we miss one S over there. We miss another S, which is the skill, but never mind. The 7S here is very important. So the pink color is saying that we should have a clear mechanisms in organization, how we move forward. Yes, that could be true in the industries. That could be true in the business. That also could be true in organization that lead to innovation. Right, so how we can move forward. So we should have a good SOP and guideline in order to move forward. And the blue one, the first blue one, you can say that direction has to be clear. All right, so people might say that strategy should be clear so that we can move forward. So this is something that we would like to start the discussion on the capacity development and the organization development. The audience would like to raise any points or to share any ideas on these polls that we did. Now I would like to show you the video of one of the video that we produced by AIT by Professor Vishwanathan about the circular economy idea, about the capacity. So please view that video.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Dr. Mushtaq, for this introduction. Let me take the next 10 minutes and make a short wrap-up presentation. I've been given the task of come up with the capacity building needs and means to promote circular economy. We have listened to the part on circular economy on upstream and downstream. Let me start with this first one. Ask this question: is circular economy a reality today? Circular economy is discussed at every level, but is it really happening? Or it is just a buzzword? This is the fundamental question I like to throw. If you listen to all these presentations, circular economy should be booming. But if you go to the field, even today, many of the developing countries go to a dump site, this is what we see. Plenty of plastics there in the dump sites. Very often in the past, dump site used to be brown color or a green color. But today it's become white color because so much of plastic lands in the dump site in the thing. So reality and what we are talking, maybe it's not matching. This lack of matching could be, you need to ask this question, are we training the right people? If we talk about needs here, the capacity building, if you look at it on this side, you have this classic linear economy, and what we need is on this side circular economy, and which basically consists of 5-6 components, depends on how people present the circular economy, but basically on circular resource and energy supplies, resource recovery from waste, industrial symbiosis, product as a service, product lifecycle extension, redesigning product. And if you listen to this last 1 hour, 1.5 hours presentation, if you look at it, even generally we talk about here, it's the what actually is taking is the resource recovery from waste is the driver of the circular economy. We are forgetting all the other components, or we are not doing it as fast as other components are still on a sleeping mode. And many of our capacity building today is driven by waste to energy or waste treatment and etc. And we say that is circular economy. Is that what we want? And on the upstream, we talked about policies, and we also know like plastic management can be done by banning plastic, and we found the pitfalls. And this tells you, you can come up with a ban, and mankind is good enough to break the ban. Okay, so the issue is banning is not a solution. And we talk about something using product as a service. Yes, it has been happening in other sectors, like a photocopying machine, carpooling, and etc. It's happening. But is it happening in a plastic sector? Can you point out some good examples? Product as service, it's an issue. That's when the circular economy, one segment of the wheel is missing. Okay. What we say is sort of, this is what I like to summarize the current circular economy, the different components. Okay, sourcing, manufacturing, logistic, marketing and sales, product use, end of the life, 3R, and etc. And if you look at it very carefully, not all of them are working on the same level. The 3R and end of life disposal, that's what we call waste treatment. This is what its driver moving. So others are lacking. Are we training only 3R and waste management professionals? If you ask me, I'm a professional environmental engineer. I'm involved in teaching environmental engineering. I teach circular economy, but still our trust is on 3R and waste treatment. Is it correct? Maybe there is a gap. I mean, that is what we need to think about it carefully. What we have is linear economy. What we want is a circular, the third one. But what actually we are training is we are training people to on recycling and treatment. I think that is important to understand. There is a gap, okay? Recycling and waste treatment, we have to clearly understand it's not circular economy. It is only a part of a circular economy. So if you wanted to do this, I ask you another fundamental question. And we have found when you talk about circular economy and say somebody's company is doing circular economy, let's ask them, what are your indicators? Okay, when I say I'm driving fast, I have indicator of I am driving 100 kilometers per hour. That's an indicator. In a circular economy, when people talk, you ask them, look at many of the companies, the documents or many municipalities which says we are in circular economy. These are the indicators they'll state. Waste collection rate, waste segregation rate, recycling rate, energy conversion rate, and all these things. It is actually one component of circular economy, waste treatment and 3R. So it's important to understand we have not got the correct type of indicators to measure circular economy to move to the next level. And we need to get that understanding very clearly. And we need to do that. Now I said the needs and we need to go to the means. To go to the means, we need to get that gap filled by capacity. The capacity building has to be done on a different level, individual level, institutional level, and etc. And the goal is essentially to train correct type of people to the circular economy. And it is also very important, there are different actors involved, and we need to have a sort of synergetic skill development is necessary with a system thinking approach. It's not that only 3R and waste management, go to any sector that cannot be a circular economy. So we need to look at it an interdisciplinary action between engineers, social scientists, managers, and policy experts are required. Okay. To do this, AIT as a regional institute, we have been spearheading in the past as one of the leading institutions to promote and educate sustainable consumption and production. We work very closely with different UN organizations, especially in UNEP and etc. Now we are moving from that part of a sustainable consumption and production to circular economy. How we are doing it is, the first action we are doing it is trying to bring out an online course by April 2021 with a partnership with the UNEP and Swiss Asia program. And these are the course content, these materials will be available, which sort of covers on a different aspect of, as I say, the circular economy in plastic waste management. In addition to this, currently AIT is running a professional master's program and marine plastic abatement. Okay, it's a one-year graduate program, and it's very much be interested. Any of you are interested in participating in it, you could apply for this. We have the first batch of students. We have around 40 students from different parts of Asia already with us. We have started, and the second batch will be joining the January 2021, and this program will be continuing further. I think my time is up. With this note, I'll stop here. Maybe I just throw 3 questions to think as a points to ponder. As the industry recognize the importance to move towards circular economy, I wanted to ask these questions. Are they really ready? And they have to move it, and it's not the waste treatment. How do you do it? That's important. Are we willing to take the risk of undergoing a cultural change? If we wanted to see earlier, we are selling products, now we are going to sell service. So there's a cultural change, and there's has to be necessary to develop a right benchmark. And it's also as important, the circular economy, going to bring a lot of green jobs. Okay, so it's means social aspects. Earlier we are selling products. Now we are not selling any more products. We might be selling service. So you need to train people in a different way. Are we ready? Are we doing that correctly? For overall employment opportunities, do we have the wide range of courses and qualifications? Maybe earlier we need managers, but maybe now you need more technical people because you're providing services. So you need to have a totally rethinking. Okay, and that is important. I think both industries and academic institutions need to understand this concept. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we thank you, Professor Vishu. Professor Vishu, actually, we use the video that he recorded in another, another event. But we thought that this the message, especially the first part of the presentation, is something to think about, especially when we are trying to screen where we are today in regard to circular economy R's. Professor Vishu has mentioned that we are now only familiar with maximum 3 R's. All right. So, and he also mentioned that if we are talking about the recycle, reuse, and reduce, it doesn't mean that it is a full-fledged circular economy. So how we are going to address the rest of the components of the circular economy. So what does it mean? It means that how we are going to be able to have more comprehensive, holistic view of the change of the circular economy, which is we heard yesterday for change. All right. From that point of view, I would like to also present my part that to kind of packaging the frame so that you will have some, idea about how would we take a look in terms of the capacities development. So please bear with me. I will share my slide. I have the same slide set, but it's okay. So I take the liberty of working in the extensions and have been working in the field of the campus building, and I hope this will benefit for you but at least to give some ideas within 10 minutes. And I believe that I have the colleagues, Dr. Suchitra is with me now in this group. Maybe we can also exchange some ideas as well. All right. So I'm just giving some introductions about the idea of this capacities enhancement. The basic principle of the capacity enhancement, that especially when it's coming from the external sources, external force, external funding, international organizations and governments, which is already promoted to implement circular economy, is that when we do capacity building, it has to be done by the organization itself. I mean, the funding agencies and also the development agencies and technical assistance will not involved directly, because when we are talking about the capacity of organizations, this means that the people, organization, the system in the organization has to get engaged into that development. So that is the first principle. So we can't expect that they will be with us forever. So it has to be done by the own organization. So that is the first principle. The second principle of the capacity development or capacity building is that the ownership of the business, it has to be there. This has to be, at the end of the day, this has to be part of the day-to-day businesses. Right. So the organization has to embrace, the organization has to be appreciated by that new introductions of different operational functionalities of the CE into the business operation. All right. And the third is the joint force of the stakeholders. All right. So if you remember, as Dr. Uma mentioned yesterday, so when we are talking about the industry circularity concept, we look at the industry, it starts trying to do something with clean technology. And the second ladder is the industry to industry relationship. So there will be stakeholders and the owners and also the employees, also exchange of the expertise. And the third is also the industry to the community. So if anybody here in Thailand, I've been talking with the EEC, the Eastern Economic Corridor, experts and practitioners in that one. If we are going to enter into the Eastern Economic Corridor industry or the special zone, we have to get partner with industry in order to do some things. Same thing as the BCG, same thing as circular economy, that we cannot just work as a government and give away the knowledge or the ability, but also we have to partner with them. Especially, we should listen to their needs, their demands, and then partner with them, and then the government will support them. So it's a long-term collaboration. It's a kind of long-term collaboration that have a long-term commitment as well. All right. So the landscape today is not working alone, and it's just a kind of the symbiosis. It's a co-management. It is something in the same ecosystem of the stakeholders. The next part of the concept of the capacity development, this creation of the circular mechanism after the project completion. So that's exactly what we are for today. How we are going to scale up. We listened to IGES yesterday from Japan. We also have the case study from South Korea. We also have the case study from China that we told you that we have that study. So in that study, is also allow the readers and yourself to be able to explore how the country would replicate and make it more, higher scalability of the practice in circular economy. So on one side, it should not be 3 hours. On the other side, it should be also replicated in a wider, institutional system thinking, flexibility of the approach, and also responsive to the needs of the interest of stakeholders. And at the end of the day, we should be able to measure what will be the end result. And as Juliet mentioned, Cheng mentioned, is there. So again, I repeat, circular economy is not the end product. This is it's not the process, but it is the end product that you would like to achieve something. All right. So that is something that we need to think about and also look at how we are going to make that happen. And my dear audience, so as Dr. Vishu mentioned, you see that we have to address a lot of gaps. On the left-hand side, we have to address the gaps of the organization per se or institutions, the why we are here in this agency, in this organization. What is our role? What is our jobs? What we are doing good things for? So what is the dreams, or what is the the identities, what is the mission of the organization, and that's one pillar. And the second pillar is the organization. So how the organization set up and how this organization belongs to big organization, how it's contribute to the other organization and community. So that is another pillar. And that is also individual. So when we have to address the capacities or when we have to survey the needs of the organization in terms of developing capacity of the organization, we always have to make different, judgment based on different gaps and based on the organization pillars that we are showing in this diagram. Actually, this diagram is made by JICA and it's made a lot of sense even until today. And we should also make that at the right time. For instance, we say that policy change on the time. So it means that we have to do in the same pace as the policy has been changed. So the policies that have been being changed because of the political change, because of the system change, and because of the ICT and digital disruption, so on and so forth. We have to be able to adjust that based on that change. So that can be looked at the external pressure and also the functionality of the system has to be ready for this capacity that has to be addressed. All right. So this is very classical, but it is applicable today as well. All right. So this is a big things which we have to look at, and I will give this away on the PowerPoint presentations. So when we are looking at the capacity, we are looking at the individuals, we are looking at the organization, and we are looking at the institutional and society. So when we are looking at this in different columns, you can see that what would be the criteria. The second column is what will be the criteria if they are to address that capacity. So what are the criteria that you would like to grow the capacity in which area? So in which area is mean that the thing on the right hand side is the indicators or measures that we have to look at how this is going to be done in terms of the measurement evaluations of the capacity. All right. So you will see more detail. Don't worry. This can be very brief here, but it will be more detailed there. And look at who will be the actors that we should also access the capacity. All right. So this is the example that we have to look at the capacity. One is the public sector, which is the regulators, the policymakers, the line agencies, and also the one that provide service and also support with the national budget. All right. So the public sector, public agency is one of the key stakeholders, which is really important. The second is the private sector. All right. So the private sector is, of course, driven by cost and profit. So if this cannot be satisfied with the profit that they make, also how they think about that and how they can benefit from doing the circular practice when the business is not doing well. So that is something that we also have to debate, to also keep in mind and also make sure that we understand the wavelength of the private organization, and then the civil society organization as well. So civil society organization, typically they are working for the betterment of the community and societies and all segments of the society. So they are actually helping us to understand what is the context of the social humanities and also justice, gender balance, governance, so on and so forth. So those are the things that we need to cover when we are to measure what is the baseline capacity, what is the expected future capacity. All right. This is one of the survey that might be interest you, and I pick up this from one of the research in Greece, and they do the survey of the potential customers of the industries. And interestingly, when they give the score, when they give the weight from the survey of the awareness of the customers, you can see that rank number one is the strengthening environmental consciousness. So although we are moving forward with a circular economy, but in return, the feedback which is coming from the customers or the stakeholders, the local stakeholders who are attached to the industry, is giving the answer or giving the opinion that the things that they can absorb quickly is their understanding of how important environment is. That is number one. So we are thinking big, but people absorb something that they're familiar with. This is something 30 years, 40 years, we also experience the same, that they have more consciousness about climate change, they have more consciousness about the environment, they have more consciousness about the social well-being and so on and so forth. So number one, this research done before COVID. So that's it. Number two is reduce waste. So again, we are now, looking at survey of the circular economy. There are so many R's there. But when we're looking at the understanding of the communities, they are looking at, I has been joining in terms of the waste separations, waste segregation, and waste reduction. That's how I see my life, which is part of the circular economy. So this is telling something that what is the level that we are going to look at, and we have to understand that where they are starting from. And number three, you can see improving living standard. All right, so it is a well-being things which is surrounding the community and people, environment, people's sphere. Now looking at the lower rank, you see, it looked like that general people will not understand what is the lower product price. They will not understand about the incomes of the companies. They will not understand about access to the quality products that much. All right, of course, it depends on the respondent and also the people that we are talking with and also making the survey. But this is something that we have to keep in mind, that the baseline has to be universal in a way that we start from something which is realistic of the capacity assessment. Otherwise, if we are going to jump to the conclusion that we are doing big things, but the stakeholders just be able to absorb that level of the information and that level of abilities that they believe they can do it, so may not be able to achieve that level. Same as the things in your organization. As Dr. Vishu mentioned, people familiar with 3 R's, people familiar with 5 S. So what do? They have been already doing circular economy. So what else? What next, right? The next example of the things when it's come to the benefit on the environment, and you can look at when we are, try to drive the understandings of how the stakeholder would understand the circular economy. The best way is to understand the most very easy for them is the minimization of the dirtiness of the place. All right, so anything which is close to them, anything is not so abstract, and anything which is day-to-day life that they can understand. So how we are going to make that message on the importance of the new concept of the circularity, be able to absorb and, fix into their mindset so that they be able to, adjust themselves to the higher level of capacity. Last bit of information, I will show you the forms that we are working on in order to make the survey. And I will also show you that you might be able to get some ideas of how the form would be look like and what is the coverage of the survey that we should look at the capacity. Okay, so bear with me. I will stop my talk within 5 minutes, but I'm sure you understand. So the first, the form that I will show you, I'm showing now, has been developed by AIT. And this is a form that we would like to have the circular policy and practice in solid waste management. For example, we take the solid waste management as a case example, for example. So we have the form. So you're familiar with this form. This form will be, for sure, will be in online application. All right. This is a paper form. All right. It's already transferred in the online, in the Google form. It can be in also in the monkeys, survey monkeys. It could be in also data harvest. It could be so on and so forth application, right? We also looking at a different angle. So we are looking at the organization perspective, all right, and also organization strategy. So we are looking both the organization perspective, organizationality, and also the readiness of the organization in terms of the technical capacity, all right. So when we are making the survey of the line agencies and government organization and also the practical specialization center, we are looking at also the technical capability. Can they do it? Have they experienced it? What else that they can do, what else that they cannot do, what are the problems that they face, how they can improve it, for example. Do they aware that they can improve it or not? So that is the thing that the flavors of the survey can be addressed into the capacity, all right? So it is organization, all right? Now, when we are looking at the sector, we are also trying to look at the sector, which is also looking at what are the resources that they get, they're getting from the, to implement the circular economy. It's maybe coming from the national budget, it's coming from the fund agency, it's maybe coming from the international aids and so on and so forth. So that part we can also know, because we are assuming that the governments are new to circular economy, so the government has to depend on the technical, support from outside, and that is also their kind of appetizers for further, progression, right? And the next part is we are looking at the strategies. So when we are looking at the strategies, we try also to mention anything that related to the measures, which is going to look at beyond triage. We are going to also test the water, that how the organizations and communities and scientists and researchers be able to expand from 3 Rs, 4 Rs into 9 Rs or 12 Rs, all right, which is beyond the recycle. So we touch upon that part in order to know the baseline of, are these organizations only familiar with 3 Rs or 4 Rs? Have they done anything else on that? And how much percentage of that they are doing? So then we can start building capacity from that level only. It doesn't matter, we can build from 3 Rs. It doesn't matter, because we build something from the existing capacity and readiness of the organization. All right, so that part, we also have to review things that, related to the implementation of the circular economy concept into the survey. All right. We also looking at the, what are the activities? So because any Rs that we are trying to do, there is also expected results in terms of the emissions, into the amount of carbon dioxide, also in terms of the climate change. It could be also in terms of the quality of ambience, so on and so forth there. So we also touch upon that. And then we also touch upon the understandings of the circular economy in a big way. We are thinking that although the countries or the agency may not be able to understand all the components of the circular economy that we are trying to promote, but at least we already familiarize them with the terms and understanding of these things. And we hope that from this survey, the result of the survey, will be able to help them to understand that what level they are and what next that they have to prepare for. All right. So, so this, with this needs assessment, we can get rid of, unrealistic assumption. We can also get rid of doubts. We can also get rid of, the things that we try to, to understand, and then we don't get the right answer, and we can start with something very concrete. So this will be the survey that we would like to there. And last part of the survey that we divide into different dimensions, so that we can look at the policy dimensions, we look at the financial dimensions, we look at the stakeholder dimensions, we look at technology dimensions, we look at the so on and so forth. So we look at this. So see, this is the way that we are going to educate the organizations. Number one is to see how we are going to evaluate, or how we are going to assess the capacity organization in terms of the capacity of the circular economy. All right. So happy to share this information for you and also discuss further if you are interested. There is nothing right and wrong, but things can be improved, and also your input will be very appreciated. So I will stop there, and we'll be also coming to the Q&A. All right, so please welcome Dr. Suchitra. I guess Dr. Suchitra has joined this.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, so Dr.
Thank
Suchitra,
you for inviting me to
yes,
join.
You're right. Thank you very much, Dr. Suchitra. So anything that you would like to add from my presentations in terms of the capacity of the organization? And we know that you are working on this capacity segment of the waste management in Bangkok. Anything that you would like to address and share with the audience, please?
Okay, so for my quick quick review of your presentation on the CE policy survey. I think right in case of Thailand, I remember that we have the CE in organization guideline that I think we can apply it to develop the survey. And I think the first the first standard on CE in organization have been published by British Standard. So maybe other countries also can check about that as well. And if I may add to the survey form, I might add like example of the principle, I mean, following the 9 R's, because mostly we will think about the 3 R's as Ajahn Olavet mentioned, but maybe the framework might be extended, but the organization people don't understand much what are the 9 R's comprised of. And for example, they might miss the new business model like product as a service that have been used a lot in the office building, like the service of the copying, right? Paper copying. We just rent the copy machine. We don't buy it anymore. So this is one example that the office people can understand quickly. That is the example of the CE product, and also link with the circular procurement as well. Whether how much they procure any circular products, and then we can give example of the refill products right now, or the product with recycled contents. This is something that we can give more example for the interviewee or the respondents to understand better what really is the CE in the organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Suchitra. Anybody would like to add anything on top of this? Dr. Chitralada, please.
Good afternoon, Peter and everyone here. I just feeling very interested in your topic, and this just showing the survey. And I think one of the case that we can apply this survey and also topic research is the consumer RCP. I also know the one of CEO there, and I think this will be a very good example for like we explore this good case, and then we can just explain this knowledge for another city or another field study. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comment. Any colleagues would like to share some experience that you have been working in the area of the capacity to address to the organization in your countries? Please feel free. Or any questions? While we are waiting, I would like to ask Dr. Suchitra also. So since Dr. Suchitra is the committee members of organizations in the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration to look at the perspective of the waste management. So what do you see what is the concerns and challenges that you perhaps observe in terms of the capacity in the broad way that we need to address, say on behalf of perhaps the government organization in Thailand?
Maybe if I focus on Bangkok metropolitan area, BMA, that we just have the new governor, very active person and have very strong policy on waste management at source. So what my concern is that the background, I mean, the capital what we have built so far in Bangkok, it just collect waste for disposal. So we lack of infrastructure, knowledge and people, manpower to promote waste management at source. So this is the one very big barrier. So how to overcome it? So first I need to, I'm now having a network of civil society. Together with the private sector, we are drafting the action plan on how BMA to move to reduce waste at source and segregate waste that could serve the goal to circular economy. And with that, the draft plan, we will meet the governor and we submit the action plan and get his commitment to secure the regulation and budget to implement the plan. So I think this is one thing that now we are working on.
And it's also a bit of attract me when Ajahn Sujitra mentioned about the green procurement. So will that be difficult in the Thai context? We would like to create the buy-in of the green procurement. Will that be difficult or something that we think we can do, and how we start that? Say for example.
Right now, actually, Pollution Control Department had advocate for green procurement or green public procurement for over a decade, but they could not push it as a mandatory procurement yet. So mainly will be voluntary one. So I think the first one, if the government think that circular economy should be promoted, we should have mandatory green procurement. With circular product can be subset of the green procurement actually. So this is one thing that we should advocate for. But in the short term, maybe I also talk among the private sector who are in the circular economy industry and I share the idea that we don't need to wait for the government to have the mandatory green procurement. Among the big companies, why don't we start, right? We have really big companies that they have their own procurement, but why don't they create a platform and support each other and then work together with the PCD, which already have green product directory, add more on the product that have circular marks, so that and then we provide some training for the procurement staff to understand what are the circular products are, so that and then they can purchase more on this one.
Yeah, from this conversation, before I move to other audience, I believe that there will be a few questions from our audience. I'd be able to pick up 2 points. One point mentioned by Dr. Chitralada about the works there, and also mentioned by Dr. Sujitra with regard to separation of waste as source, meaning that we should not be minded that if the communities or agencies would start with something that they already done in the way that they are familiar with, the things that we can do is perhaps add other elements of the CE into that so that they can scaling up that. That is one approach based on the conversation that we have. So we should not think that it's very basic things, but something that they can top up with more, complete and complicated things. The second things, just Dr. Sujitra has just mentioned a while ago, is about working on something which is ongoing already. And the Comptroller Department is now promoting the green procurement, and it is on the voluntary basis. Now, if we would like to encourage or enhance the capacities of the green procurement in a big way, we might be able to change the modalities of improving by making it more mandatory. So the second approach that I would say that we are getting there is, working on something which is moving already, ongoing, and also trying to add value into that part. And that also helped to strengthen the capacity in a big way. So do we need to invest? I have not seen that we do need to invest from outside resource. We can work on the internal resource that we have. That perhaps are the 2 things that I can pick up from these conversations. And I believe that audience can also agree with me. That is very useful. Audience would like to share ideas or information, please feel free. We have questions from Fakhrul Islam in AIT. Is there any plan to introduce renewable energy to increase energy efficiency in energy sector? Another question is, in case of waste management, if there any idea to awareness building in waste separation? If you mean in AIT, in AIT, we are having different schemes on these waste recycling and the triage activities from different projects. And we use the national laboratory for students to practice. And also in AIT, we have the international communities who are the local people that also helping us to understand how the community thinks about the waste separations and segregations and also participation. In the front of the energy efficiency, we have started the program on SDG, and one of the SDG program that we started in AIT is on the energy efficiencies by especially electricity consumption. So we have already started at the beginning, and we would like to promote that building to buildings. And what we are trying to do, we are trying to follow the private sectors that should be having a data of the energies consumption, electricity, for example, power consumption example, so that we can also keeping pace of how progress we are in this aspect. Thank you, Fakru, for this question. Anybody else, please?
I saw Dorothy raise his hand.
I see. You can raise your hand. Yes, please.
Okay, so my question is, I'm from Nigeria. My name is Dorothy from Nigeria. And here in Nigeria, we are just starting to create awareness on the importance of waste education. And but the thing is that I don't know in AIT and over there in your country. My question is, do you use color-coded bins for waste segregation? And what are the colors that you use for each recyclable waste? Like here we are trying to introduce using for plastic, that's for municipal solid waste, red for plastic, green for paper, yellow for can, green for biodegradable. So I would love to know how you do your waste segregation over there. Do you use color-coded bins and what color do you use? Thank you.
I mean, Dorothy, we have not been able to hear you clearly. Would you mind to repeat your questions in a short form again, please?
What are the color codes? Do you use color-coded bins? Color code waste bins for waste segregation. And what are the color codes for each waste item?
Yeah, or you can, if you can type, Dorothy, we are not hearing clear at all. You are talking about the waste type and plastic waste. That's what we hear. Or anybody can help? Okay, so yeah, we will, maybe we can wait for Dorothy to type and also to speak with us again. So any others? Ideas? Dr. Chongdi, any comment, suggestion? Okay, we have a query from Sheikh Azim or Archid. How can this technology for waste management could be sellable? Maybe Ajahn Suchitra.
Which one?
Which
kind of technology?
Of waste management could be sellable?
I mean, we have like technology for many types of activities. I mean, for supporting or facilitating waste reduction, waste segregation, sorting, and then the end of pipe technology for this for waste disposal. So I'm not sure which technology you mean.
Right.
But it's okay. It can link with the procurement, as I also already mentioned, and it can, as I mentioned about mandatory, most of the public green procurement laws, so they just focus on the public agency that they can order, the government can order the government agencies to procure some technology or some machines that are more eco-friendly. So this one thing that can help boosting the sales of the technology.
Thank you. So Brilata, Miss Brilata, please ask a question so that we can enjoy listening to you. So please do a verbal question, please, if you can. I mean, I can read, you know. Okay, so I can. Okay, so I would like to take these questions. I would like to take these questions for Genevieve. All right. Informal sectors. Yes, I can see that how challenging it is to have the informal sectors to involve into the bigger way of the circular economy. What the things that I would suggest is that I think it is a mobilization. I mean, let them group into a small group first, and be able to have a kind of a group where they can share some ideas and they can also present ideas, and that grouping is helping also the agencies or the NGO and the government to be able to empower that can also affect to the ability of the group. So we might have a challenge of the literacy. We might have a challenge of their time contribution because they are poor, they have to earn their living. We might have some challenge of their their participation because they don't want to show off because that they are poor, so on and so forth. But I think the best way is to select the informal sector members who are willing to participate and who are ready. Don't force them. Select few of them and make them as a champion and use them as a role model for the other weaker informal sector members. That I would suggest. For this group,
may I add on this issue on the capacity building of the informal sector? In Thailand, we call Saleng, the small waste buyer, waste picker, and we have junk shops. So I also include the action plan for the Bangkok city that we should do some kind of survey and get the informal sector in the system. Of course, it's not mandatory, but it's like supporting way for them, and through the junk shops network. Now in Thailand, we have the association of Saleng and junk shops. So I encourage that in your country, if you can group establish some kind of association, so that it can be a contact point for the government or other agency to help the association, and then the association can help the members. So from that, I think we could reach out to the very small people who need help and need some training from the government. Thank you.
Dr. Sujitra, there is a written version from Dorothy. What color codes that we use for recyclable waste and biodegradable waste? Any ideas on that?
We have the color code for biodegradable. We use green bin. For recyclable, we use yellow bin. So it's already written as the guideline from Pollution Control Department. But the thing is, because most of the local government, they don't have much budget, so they have only one garbage truck. So they kind of mix all types of waste into the truck. Even though we know that all recyclable can be sold, will be picked up by the garbage collectors. But most people think that it's meaningless to segregate the waste. So even we have like a color code for the garbage bin, it doesn't help much if the system doesn't follow the waste segregation system. So this is something that we need to build the infrastructure and support the local government to have the separate waste collection system in place.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yeah, it is. Dorothy has put on the top of guidelines, and from the response from Dr. Suchitra, that is the role of the Department of Pollution Control. So to say, the government help the communities and industries to mark the standard so that they will be able to follow very easily. Now, to raise awareness, to create skills, and also to create attitude is something else. So on top of that, the government already support, but down the line, the process of the capacitizing is still needing so that the things is complete. So it's now coming to the guidelines, coming to the role of the government. It's very, very, very useful. Dr. Chongdi has added the meaning of the in different colors. Okay. The color beans can be different. All right. Okay. Yes. Dr. Chongdi, please. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Chongdi, to confirm that. Yes.
Okay. I think like I agree with the Dr. Suchitra that in different country we also have the different code. But however, the image that just I post is just like from the PEA. PEA is the one of the electricity that they generate for the general waste in the blue color, and the recycle waste in the yellow color, and also the for the disposal or like the wet waste that in the green color, and also in the for the hazardous waste we define in the red color. But however, it depends on your country that they're gonna have the different categories. But however, they will when we would like to segregate the waste, we will look at the symbol. It's very easy for the one that cannot read, and this one is the we call the Japanese too, because we do not have the one that cannot read and cannot write, but they can look at the symbol. And this kind of the one thing that when we would like to develop the capacity building, that we have to have the equity of all people, and yes. Also in some group of the people that they cannot they cannot not read, but for blind people, for disability, for blind people, that we have to have the bins that they have the voice instead of the symbol. And this kinds of the principle of the equity that we have to concern on of the people in the equity people. Okay, thanks.
Very interesting. Actually, this also linked to Genevieve comments about the informal sector. And did I mention that Dr. Chongdi is talking is about the inclusions, the inclusiveness of this practice as well. So we have to also consider all the segments of the society can participate. So it's not the color, but also there is some size, something that people who are not seeing, not hearing, will be able to participate in these things. So that that is something that very, very, very important. We have a lot of people with disabilities in our societies. We have also a kind of suburban area people that they also underdeveloped area in the urban area. So how we can encourage them to participate. So in short, we also very humble for them. We also respect them. So that's why we produce something so that they can participate. That is something that we can add on into the ideas.
And also, can I add one more things, Ajahn Joe?
Yes.
That just like I asked Faku Islam that posted, is just like this is very important and very sensitive point, because I have a lot of my friends that who are the element in how to say, environmentally friendly, but they gave up a lot because they got separate the waste in their household. But however, is when they collect, such as that in Bangkok, they collect everything in the same bin, in the same truck. And this kinds of the thing that is very important because we try to segregate in our household, and we have awareness. But however, for the gathering system in from the household, and they put everything in the same truck, and this is not just good practice that we need the awareness and also not the knowledge, but the mindset for the people who work in these kinds of the thing. And also we hope, we have a little hope that we have a new the governor, that he will concern about these kinds of the issue too. Thanks.
Yes, very important point with regard to the stakeholders. So you can imagine that if we are going to build capacity, the people, workers who are working on the trucks, on the collection trucks that coming to our house every morning, every evening, every night, also has to be not training, but have a mindset of don't mixing them up. At the end of the day, there is no point of separation, and if the villagers who separate and put the effort of that separation and seeing them mixing them, so how do they feel about this effort? So it's a kind of connectivities of the willingness that we have to consider. So I know that Dr. Suchitra has to go, and we are at the right time to take a quick break of 5 minutes. And thank you a lot for this part of the sessions, your participation. Thank you for Dr. Suchitra for your participation today and all the question and answer. Dr. Jongdi, thank you so much, and all the questions coming from participants. So we take a break for 5 minutes, and then we go to the next next section of the session. At this point of time, thank you, Ajahn Suchitra Kap, and hope to see you again. Welcome back. Welcome back. Right. So we have next input sessions, presentations from AIT side. AIT have done a lot of works in relation to the circular economy. So you will see, you have a quickly listening to two examples. The first example is about the funding mechanisms in Thailand, that they are giving some funds to support the startups. And after that video record of the talk, you will listen to Kun Japan, Kun Ponchanok here about the what AIT is doing many things in relation to the infrastructures sector on the circular economy in different bits of substance there. So let's start with the showcase of the startup funding from the government source, some funding source to encourage startup to do the circular economy.
Hi everyone, good afternoon, and hope you are doing well and stay safe. My name is Panchia Raksasakun, co-founder of Kid Forward Company. It is our pleasure today to share with all of you our experience with the common practices of startup or SME with respect to sustainable infrastructure, which refers to the equipment or tools that help improve our productivities and our service efficiency of the company in order to provide a service that meets the customer needs. Before we start, I would like to introduce Mr. Prasit Pongsoon, founder of Kid Forward Company. He will share with us the practices and pathway to sustain the infrastructure of the agricultural ecosystem businesses. So enjoy our presentation.
Kid Forward company has been founded in 2017 after we won the first prize with the seed money from Swiss Innovation Challenge, a collaborative program from Thammasat Business School and NW Switzerland. In 2018, food security and agriculture was the global issue. We thought we have to move faster and find a sustainable business model. So, twist our business model from social enterprise to agri-business model and start running business with IoT-based technology. In 2019, we joined Innofo Farmer startup program supported by government under membership of NIA and startup company founder. We were able to launch the IoT platform for smart farm called SuperCorp as our first innovation product. In 2020, we found the product market fit by using a market mechanism provided by the government and agency to create the product value for a community enterprise, our customer. In 2021, we expand our networks and scale technology to rooftop farming community, the public-private partnerships projects. So for 3 year experience, we are now prepared to scale up to able to succeed this year KPI. We joined the venture capital program developed by the BAAC, that is Bank for Agriculture and Agricultural Cooperative, and National Innovation Agency, and Thammasat University, and Stock Exchange of Thailand for the grant. So this is our overall story. So you see that the government play a several role in startup phase. Now I would like to tell you that more how the startup SME get support by the government and bank. So firstly, if you have an idea looking for mentorships program provided by the government agency in your country, nowadays there are several programs that has been initiated to help SME improve their business with the mentorships or even the sales money. In this case, NIA is the agency that incubates several startup companies in Thailand through their incubate program. Innofo Farmer is our first pitching stage. When you found the product market fit, or let's say first product, now the government agency will take a role of partner or sometimes as a sales. This stage is depends on the country policy as well as the government's governance structure. In our case, DIPA or Digital Economy Promotion Agency provides us a market mechanism through their campaign or tool. We got the first customer from them. We found that to create a sustainable business, we need to looking for a sustainable funding model like a public-private partnership or PPP projects. Currently, in many countries, has been starting these types of project. So source of fund, here is the overall pictures of the source of funding and support that the government provide for the SME and startup. So now, not only getting support from the government agency, SME or startups nowadays are also able to register for banks loan with a reasonable rate of interest to help them manage the business to cash flow while scaling up. In addition, with the bank support SME or startup can also create trust for the investor, both internal and global venture capital. Meanwhile, the global banks such as ADB or Asian Development Bank could be an alternative or main source of funds for the SME or startup company in Asia country. In conclusion, the governments of the developing country, especially in Asia, has a mechanism to help SME and startups manage their activities by establishing the government agency to help and support the company to create a sustainable market mechanism such as initiate mentorship program. Meanwhile, the government banks will take a role of investor who provide loan and venture capital service to each individual company. Those mentioned mechanisms will help SME and startup growth sustainably.
Thank you for watching us again and hope you enjoy our presentation. Contact us for web.kitrawat.co.th. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Very nice presentations. On this one, I would say that I take the liberty of sharing the ideas. On yesterday, we discussed a lot on the urbanizations, the area in Japan that they try to use the the light rail system, and they put the right rail system as an infrastructure where mixed with the facilities that serve the area where sectors can integrate. So that is one model, and there is a lot of the discussion there. The second models that Dr. Uma mentioned is about the value chains as the part that we might be able to use as a package for integrations of practicing the things on relation to CE practice. The third that I would say from here, I would say that urban agriculture, having funding support and the startup modality is somehow the package where maybe we can take the advantage of implementing something on the pilot on the circular economy. So what we can see that there is a similarities of place where integration is there to be able to have a platform that multiple sectors can work together in that platform. So food for thoughts that how we would implement the circular economy initiatives, we might to find out some platform or some models or modalities where the multi-sectoral integration is ready there. Why we have to do that? Because the legislative, the regulation, the policy cannot be integrated easily. So that perhaps something to think about. All right. So now we move forward to the next presentations by Ponchanok with regard to the AIT attempts to showcase how would the sustainable structures substance can be used, the circularity concept. Yeah, Kun Ponchanok, please.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ponchanok Pidenthorn. I come from AAT and I am IP and licensing manager here. Today, I will talk about many aspects of our center because AAT has school and also center that have research and resort in different fields. Okay, let's start with our presentation. Okay, we start with the pattern in AAT because our AAT, as you may aware that we have 3 schools with SET, CERT, and some with SET during with all activity concerned about engineering, and CERT is about environment and sustainability, and some is School of Management. And also we have many centers in AAT, such as that our event today is from AAT Extension and also AAT Solution. And we have many activity on the some kind of deep tech, on something like nanotechnology that we focus on really researching, and AI center, many center that we do many different activity here. Okay, next slide, please. We start with the brick for construction, which is developed by Habitat Center, because now today on the event is circular infrastructure, and we concern about how we can produce the house or some kind like build the building with the low cost and also eco-friendly for the environment. Okay, next slide, please. You can see that about our Habitat Center, we have different type of brick. You can imagine as you a kid, and we can develop the Lego. Some part you can some kind of build and use your imagination to build your own house or your own things. And this also we have some kind like the pattern of brick that if you would like to do the house in the format that we have, you can buy as the idea, or you can develop your own with some consultant with our engineer at AAT Solution and Habitat Center. It's very easy about this brick to produce with soil, stone dust, and cement with very low cost, and unskilled labor can training to make it to happen. Okay, next slide, please. We have the example of we join licensing with the Siam Cement Group, with a very big company about construction in Thailand, and we develop 2 prototypes of house in Ratchaburi and Kanchanaburi. And after that, we some kind like extend to build in different rural area. But for that, some kind like we not have the picture here because sometimes like privacy things. But this the demo from SCG is about in Ratchaburi and Kanchanaburi. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, the first one that we do is about Habitat Center and Solution, and we come to different center. It's called Nano Center, and this one is the product that Nano Center joint developed with School of Engineering, and this is the some kind like preparation nano fiber to the fast mixture. Okay, next slide, please. As you also know that air fast used in the road construction and mechanism with the mainly moisture and adoption in very different portion of mix, and we try to current invention to address the issue of modify the air pass with mixing with NCF and bio in additive. Okay, next slide, please. So we found and we developed the different molecules to better use for the road in Thailand. Is a case study also. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, we go to the real green thing about green biotech technology. This is the form the search school in AAT also, and this is some highlight is biotech that we concern with 3R: reduce, waste, reusing, and recycle. Next slide, please. Which is some highlight is storage, and is we concern about three things to rewaste some kind like we concern about soil and non-biodegradable things, and also we can think that it's with more resource more than waste, and we try to reduce, reuse, recycle, and to be developed as the green technology. Okay, next slide, please. And for this one, we also some kind like instrument in the building of AAT, and we have the urea things and also the building is some kind of green wall of the realty to produce the wall of the building to be some kind of clean and some high rate food production and co-benefit is another of recycling. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, we continue talking about on the engineering part and about the connecting. This is the U-shell precast beam column connected with developed by Department of Civil Engineering, School of Engineering, AIT. And this is the invention that's quite newly, but the thing some kind like easy to use and develop. Okay, next slide, please. And all the material are used for assemble this connection will be easy and very cheap, easy to affordable, and also it's reduce waste and reduce time of labor to some kind like install them. And some kind like this is the full scale test results of beam column and under the activity load, and some kind of implementation is in fast pace and counterpass also. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, you can see that it will be it's in innovation, but it will be easy and cheap for our real construction for produce in the real things. Okay, next slide. Okay, we go to some kind of fancy things about this can crusher robot. This is developed by AIT Solution and AIT Entrepreneurship Center. It's some kind of autonomous robot and with some kind of really nice and user friendly for use. Okay, next slide. We can call that this robot is autonomous robot, and so it's easy and it's friendly to circular economy for post-consumer waste, and also it challenge of people to they play with us and got some kind of the reward things that they can use later, and also consumer data will be analysis for us for the further approach. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, for example, if the people would like to use, they can bring plastic, glass, or aluminum can that they already finished eating already and go to our robot. And this is our robot is certification into many cases. And for example, the plastic can be used for reduce to be the many things and also help for the other people, some kind like collect, certification, and pre-recycle. And this is the can catcher one, and I would like to share some video of this robot for your kind information. Enjoy.
Plastic trash, food scraps, can waste, food packaging garbage, everything is mixed up. The struggle with the waste segregation is real. Effective waste segregation is important so that less waste goes to landfill. Some of the garbage people generate is biodegradable, some is recyclable, and some is neither. Waste segregation involves separating waste according to how it's handled or processed. If the waste is neither biodegradable or recyclable, it's destined for the landfill. This is Ponchanok. She likes to drink canned sodas as she knows that it can be recycled 100 times without quality loss. However, she noticed that even though she tries to segregate her waste, she noticed that some consumers are not aware of the importance of the proper waste segregation, and some are just not throwing the trash correctly. To solve this issue, meet the can crusher. It was developed to pre-process post-consumer waste, like aluminum cans, reducing the volume of trash ready for recycling. Not only facilitates waste segregation, it also aims to create awareness of the circular economy concept to save our environment. This machine not only makes waste segregation fun, it also rewards the user with points for every can crushed. The points can be redeemed through QR code, coupon, or donate to charity. The developer of this machine is also working on a smart shredder robot that can pre-process both cans and drink plastic bottle waste to make sure these waste can be properly recycled. If you want to see this smart robot at the malls or your local convenience stores, click Support Innovation Lab after this video. And together, let's make circular economy a reality. The Asian Institute of Technology has developed innovative, safe, green, cost-effective building and construction technologies and techniques called Habitat Building Technology. This innovative building and construction
finish the first video about can catcher. We would like to continue with the habitating things, and for the can catcher one is the real practice on some kind of activity that we manage by ourselves. But for the next video that already play and it will be continued, is about our habitating technology, and you can see in how it's produced and how it's used in the real world also. Okay, continue.
Technology is an alternative way to build disaster-resilient housing and social infrastructure buildings using fabricated modular and interlocking components. This system has already been applied to construct school buildings, health clinics, hospital, social housing, police station, and other low-rise buildings in countries such as Bhutan, Laos, Myanmar, Nepal, India, and Thailand. Habitat Center at AIT Solutions aims to bring this innovative technology to different communities as a better alternative in constructing affordable and durable housing.
As one of the focus areas of AIT Solutions, developing the appropriate disaster resilient, environmentally friendly technologies for construction is being taken up in Habitech, which is part of AIT Solutions group. In the building technology area, we are especially focusing on developing systems that can be constructed easily. They are cost effective. Also, they can effectively resist the forces from earthquake and wind, as well as they are green. And we are also adding now sensor-based smartness in some of these systems. As one of our demonstrative project, we have recently been involved in the design and construction of the police station next to the AIT campus. This project actually combines the two of the technologies that AIT has developed. One is the Habitech and another one is Ferrocement, and we have documented the design and construction of this project for people to be familiar with the technologies and also learn how they use. We include drone-based construction monitoring. We also included 3D printing to create the models before this was constructed. And we also adapted some of the features in both the technologies to suit this special project.
Okay. Thank you so much for giving the floor to us to present, and also this video and all of things that initiative activity under AIT, and also we some kind like work hard for on the researching part, and also we concerned about our earth, or to be concerned about circular economy, and every component as today is circular economy and infrastructure. In every component that we should do should be concerned and thinking about us and thinking about world also. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Panchanok, for your presentations of these a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, my friends, we do have a lot of resources, and we are here to help here. So the first thing is circular economy for sustainable infrastructure is possible. So it is realistic. How it is realistic is depend on us to have creativity, innovative business mindset, and think beyond the lab, things beyond the labs, things beyond the shops, workshops, so on and so forth. So the asphalt that mentioned by Panchanok, it definitely is from the laboratory. And I believe that if you go through any textbooks about the circular economy, you will see that there will be opportunity to strengthen the innovation for the material made from the labs. Say, for example, by having this material, maybe you can see how we are going to select the different materials for asphalt, or maybe we manufacture the bricks materials. So even from labs or from inside the industry, you can start thinking of how we are going to integrate in circular economy. I mean, that is our thought. That's why we would like to highlight that by having that video posted. Now, when it's coming to the building the house, it's allowed you to have a larger interface. This is allowed you to have a larger platform for integration, right? So moving from the labs, you are having the community industry interface where you circularize the income generations to the unskilled laborers, as Panchanok says. So that from that point of view, you also address the one portions of the circular economy in terms of the income generation, well-being, and the local economy. Because as Panchanok has mentioned, this is actually unskilled labor who can also serve that manufacturing of the bricks, and that bricks also benefit to the communities that have to build maybe after the major disaster, for example. All right, so that is a showcase example that maybe address how we moving forward for the scaling up. And looking at the sellabilities, marketabilities, and feasibility, also ability to invest as a business things, the precast, structures, also looking at in terms of the cost of transportations, and also the cost to the climate on the carbon emission, and so on and so forth. So that might also be able to look at the angles. It depends on the analysis. It depends on analysis, and that analysis would bring out the innovation, and that is something that we are looking for, right? And the last part is basically the high-tech added things, which is everybody want to do it. Startup is interested, and a private company want to be there, and everybody want to be on that pace of the digital disruption there. So we don't want to miss the bus, we don't want to miss the boat. So we have also a chance to also incorporate the disruptive technologies into there. So this is another metrics that we might like to have a kind of a cross-cut of your analysis to be very innovative with reasons, with reasons, right? So I hope the presentation that we did just a while ago would give you some thoughts, and I would like to hear more thoughts maybe after I stop here before we go into the group discussions. Any further thoughts, any further questions, please? or ideas? From your context of your countries, from your context of your industries and businesses? So from now you will move into your groups, and you did a very great job yesterday. I already shared our jobs yesterday in the chat box. I'm not sure whether it works, but I already sent the sharing of the paper that we record yesterday to you, so that you can make use of that paper for your own benefit and for discussion in the later day. So I would like to move to the group exercise, and we will leave you into the small groups for 15 minutes. For the group will be working and discussing for 15 minutes. All right. And then you'll put your answer into the Google Doc, and then you can present that after this. So the questions has 2 questions here. So in general, if you have to form the team for implementing the circular economy projects, what type of skill you need? Okay, so we would like to hear from you in terms of the capacity of the manpower that you want to look at it. This is just, you just make a general point. We don't need to be very sector specific, but in what is your God-giving ideas of what really the skill do we need for implementing these circular economy projects, whatever you think you want to do in your group. The second question, and it can be a very short answer, considering the whole idea of capacity development, what are the substance of the capacity that you have to strengthen? All right, so what are the substance? Meaning that the substance that might related to the manpower, the substance might related to the system, you know, the system, the procedures, the SOP, the regulations, and so on and so forth, organization structures, or the substance that might also related to the rule and regulation in the companies. The substance could be also a kind of business strategies that you have, for example. So what are the capacity? Capacity is not only skills, is something else. Capacity development is the ability to deliver something that meaningful and worth the money. All right. So the capacity is not only the skill, the capacity is the abilities of the organization to deliver something that meaningful and worth the money. All right. So from these 2 questions, we would like to hear from each team. So I will count 3, and then automatically you will be in a magic disappear to your own groups. It's like a magic here. I like the Zoom in many ways. 1, 2, 3, disappear. Yes. What is this? Metaverse. Okay, so welcome back. Let's hear from group 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sir, group 5 would like to share this.
Please, Tarun.
Yes, sir.
Take your floor. Tarun, what is your building? What is the building behind you?
This is my department headquarters.
Wow.
This is the headquarters of the local government engineering department of Bangladesh.
LGD, I see.
LGD, yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, my skin is visible.
Yes, visible.
Yes, sir. Our question, first question was that what is the general way to form the team for implementation of the circular economy project? we think the skill like team members should have to have enough knowledge about the circular economy. They also have the training. Only knowledge is not enough for anybody to work in any field. That's why they should have to have enough training how use is knowledge properly and effectively. They have to have the major issue is that as stakeholder, most of the cases, general people or public is the strength of implementation any project, any knowledge. That's why we have a lot of scope or lot of issues to create the consciousness in among the general people. That's why we have the major initiatives on emphasizing the increasing the consciousness of the public. Our team member also have the technical knowledge like ICT skill should be increased, and environmental education also increased. Then it is also mostly helpful. There is some have rules and regulation, and monitoring from the on the hand of the government or public authority. Second question is that the considering the whole idea capacity building, the capacity strengthening, or what are the substance of the strengthening. As per our group discussion, we have univocally decided that this 4 issue is the most important for the development, the strengthening, like innovation. Innovation is foremost issue to strengthening the new circular economy knowledge, but also the adaptation. This should be the adaptable for the society, or but also the general people can receive it easily. The adaptation is the most important for the issue, and enhance the public consciousness. So we also discussed this issue before question. This is the most important issue for the public consciousness is very too much important for implementation or in enhancing the new topics, and but also the we have to have the technical knowledge and technical capacity of the group, or the introducing or popularization this capacity development issue. We have to have the technical knowledge and technical capacity. That's also as per our group discussion, we can find these issue, points on these 2 questions. Thank you.
Yes, big hands. Actually, in Zoom, we should have a kind of big hands, clapping hands voice so that we can hear. Big hands to group 5. So make a lot of sense. I pick up something from here, but I will not say now. I would like to say at the end, which is, I believe it will be very useful. So thank you, Tarun and your team. So group 4, please. Yes, Bernard, thank you. Can we make also the sound from that clapping?
Okay.
Group 4, please.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samdong Emmanuel from Energy Transition Program AIT. So this is what we deliberated for Group 4. So the type of skills we'll need in order to implement the circular economy project will be environmental and natural resource management, energy auditors, because usually there's a lot of energy being wasted if there is no audit, especially on the industrial level. And so that can cause a lot of resource losses. So manufacturing skill and recycling skill, project management and evaluation skills, researchers, technology and production chain, economists and entrepreneurial skills, because those skills are required to promote startup firms that are interested in the circular economy project. Marketing skills, new idea generation, that's innovation on how we could properly implement this project, training on circular economy. Then on substance of capacity to strengthen, we thought of a lot of technical centers need to be developed, especially for developing countries, because we face most of these issues with resource recycling. There is lack of capacity, especially at the level of the municipalities. So at the level of the municipalities, they manage almost 60% of the resource. Take the case of Cameroon, for example, which I come from, they manage 60% of the resources in the countries. And so they take care of the environment, and most of those workers, they have weak capacities, they are not trained, and so they don't have an idea how to manage, for example, waste, recycling and all that. And so most of the trained capacity, they work at the central levels, at the ministry, at the government, at the policy levels, whereas the people that are implementing, they are working on the field, the skills are very weak. So policies and laws to promote circular economy projects also is very needed. Incentive and income tax for resource management. Like, for example, there could be a campaign in order to sensitize each and everyone, because circular economy is about community. It's about community safety, it's about management of resources, and so everybody needs to get involved. It's not just it's not just something of a particular set of people or the key stakeholders like the government and the municipal authorities. So the infrastructures are needed for recycling, human resource, incentive to both circular economy and working environmental and safety measures need to be put in place for a successful circular economy project to take place. These are the points we discussed in Group 4.
Thank you. Group 4, thank you very much. I have taken the points so that we can discuss at the end. So we can move to Team 3, please.
Okay. Because of most of the group members, they are in the library. They cannot just do the discussion wall. But however, on behalf of Group 3, I would like to present our result. Okay, here. Waiting for a while. We talk among each other while typing, and also the typing in the chat box that what type of the skills that do we need to work as a team. it seems like similar to the another group that just present, but I would like to raise the another issue such as that innovative thinking that we also need to promote when we work as a team, and also design thinking skills and the collaboration skill and leadership skill. And the collaboration is including the communication skill, and also the another core knowledge and skill that such as that the technology on the circular economy or the environmental security, environmentally friendly, and also the environmental designs are also need. And also for the what are the substance of the capacity that we have to strengthen, that we would like to develop like kind of the learning center that they can share for the workshop or the training for enhancing that and promoting the knowledge and the skill in each. I don't want to read out loud because you can see on the scale on the screen. And also we need to strengthen the stakeholder participations. And we would like to strengthen the networking and the collaborations among stakeholders. That is very, very important. It's not just only the core knowledge or the skill, but however, for the soft skill that we will work as a team and we will just move and we can just like change the world by acting and practicing. Okay, this is the our group discussion result.
Thank you very much, Kabajan. So we move to group 2, well noted. For group 3, now group 2.
Good evening, Professor. Could you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. I am a representative from Group 2, and thank you everyone for your answer. Okay. In the first question, we thinking that the people who engage with circular economy project should have this skill as follow problem solving, creativities. They will have understanding of problem and knowledge, communication skill, team buildings, assessment and monitoring, and also leadership, skill to work with other in project management, coordinating decision makings, and people is also important in this. Actually in every project, also networking skill, delegating, mobilizing the resources, PPP, private-public participation, and also put the right people in the right job or positions. And the second question, the substance of capacity that you have to strengthen. Yeah, we have talked about the rules and regulation, human resources, financial support, also team management, trainings, monitoring and evaluation, awarding people, team organization, cultures, goal-oriented, technology enchanted, and new innovation, and also the research and knowledge sharings. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So now we move to group 1, please.
Okay, I'm presenting this on behalf of group 1. We discuss skills for to implement a circular economy project, technical knowledge on recycling, waste segregation, and other waste management technologies and techniques, and the knowledge on life cycle thinking, and the knowledge on life cycle assessment tools, software application knowledge, and LCA, the LCA application to assess environmental impacts throughout the identify the environmental impacts throughout the product or service life cycle, and knowledge on eco-design, design for sustainability concepts and applications, and also methodologies and success stories on this implementation, and the policy expertise, and the knowledge on policy development and implementation skills, and the knowledge on international standards, regulations, state-of-the-art techniques and technologies, and also best practices towards circular economy implementation, and knowledge on resource efficiency, clean or green production, industrial symbiosis, carbon management, energy management, eco-labeling, eco-innovation, LCA, and other circular economy support concepts and tools. Knowledge on those areas, and also team skills, discussion with stakeholder groups. Those are the skills that we identified to implement, or supportive skills to implement circular economy projects. And for second question, substances of capacity to strengthen recycle and other proper waste management facilities. It would be great if we can strengthen those facilities, and human resources and the trained people, and knowledge sharing platforms with adequate resources, and also for accessibility for those resources, and the policy framework, and framework for monitoring, evaluation, and sustain of these implemented projects, and financial capacity through funds and other sources, and institutional partnership like private-public partnership. And the knowledge should be available in the every level, like primary education, secondary education, and university curriculum, and other different sector level knowledge sharing. And the leadership skills and communication skills, we must strengthen those skills to implement the circular economy, and strengthen research and development opportunities relevant to the circular economy, and strengthen public awareness, especially for consumer awareness for green purchasing, producer awareness for green and cleaner production. Those two pillars, consumer awareness and as well as a producer awareness. And they strengthen education for sustainable consumption and production, sustainable development, and also take measures to avoid greenwashing, and promote and strengthen green procurement in policy level, in national level, and infrastructure for use, strengthen infrastructure to use waste as a resource for another industry. It means industrial symbiosis practices. That's what we identified through group number 1.
Thank you, everyone. So these are very useful informations. As Dr. Chongdi said, all groups are great. I would like to give a last bits of information, 5 minutes only. Let me share my screen and for your thought. I take notes of your elaborations, explanation. So when we have to create the new organizations to launch the CE, you are right. I mean, you have to break down into 2 domains of concerns, right? So it depends on what is the new functionality that you would like to create. And I believe that you know all of this. These functionalities or organization structures may not look like the same anymore, because it has to be something like, the group say innovations, there will be adaptations, and there will be driving change, and so on and so forth. So we might not be able to stick to our current organization structure. Is a given, but we cannot live that way if we are going to look at the implementation part of the circular economy. I mean, in my view, and you have said that, you have addressed that point by separations of the functionalities and also the skills that you wish to have. And on the second part, when you map this, and you may like to also measure how we are going to succeed by recruiting, deploying the new people into your organization. So you have to have different marks of who are able, who are, who are willing, who are able, who are be able to train. What are the new people that you would like to bring in from different departments or different recruitments or from mobilizations, this thing. And then that would be, I would say that is going to be a new organizations in the old organization where you are going to drive change into that. So I think we are trying to make sense of the organization structures, functionalities, and abilities of the people to be able to do good jobs. And we have here also the three things. One is the soft skill, the management soft skill. The second one is the specialization on that particular technologies or businesses. And the third one is the integration, like innovation and adaptation. All right. So these are the integration. This is the platform where we have to integrate, including business relations, including community relations. All right. So I hope that my metric is useful, but I draw these metrics because of your so great inputs. So these are very useful information. Is highly valuable for everybody here, and you own it. You own these ideas. It's not belong to anybody but yourself, and very congratulations for that. The next final one of the my sharing is the how you are going to move forward. All right. So when you are going to look at the enhancing capacity, you may have to look at the important components, and you cannot miss any components there, because if you are missing one of these, there might be some, some failure might occur. So make sure that when you are going to drive change, you have to at least, what do you call that? Have a minimal requirement that these five parts of the machine should be addressed. All right, we cannot miss many things in the implementation of anything. So that everything is important. One is the long-term plans. What is the business strategies in the future in related to the circular economy practice? The second thing is the skills. The third thing is the motivation. What is the environment that we are talking about in organizations that motivate people to do their jobs and also to dream for the best for the circular economy and resources, and also the action to move forward. So I put this into another frame where you might also like to address when you are looking at the capacity to deliver the result. All right. Skill is not enough, but you have the whole chunk of the responsibilities, at least 5 of these, that you can help you to deliver the results of the circular economy. All right. So thank you very much, everybody. Highly appreciate really of your participation and your outputs. This is very valuable to everybody here. All right. We see you tomorrow.